Hi, this is Jeff Carpenter. Welcome to DS220, Practical Application Data Modeling with Apache Cassandra. Before we dive into the specifics of data modeling for Cassandra, let's talk about the basic process that's common to all data modeling, regardless of what database you're using. First, we start with analyzing the requirements of the domain in order to identify the key entities and relationships in the domain. This is commonly referred to as a conceptual data model. At the same time, we think about the questions that we will want to ask of our data, the queries that we will use to retrieve data. With relational data modeling, this step is actually one that's often not thought about until later in the data modeling process, or even after our application is running in production. But you will soon see why this is an important step to include early in the process for Cassandra data modeling. Next, we begin to specify an actual database schema in what's called a logical data model. Now, in Cassandra terminology, we're beginning to identify the key spaces, tables, and even columns. In the physical data modeling step, our design becomes real as we assign types to each of our columns and we write the actual Cassandra query language or CQL statements that define our tables. Finally, we take a step back and evaluate our data models, making refinements in order to ensure that our applications can scale well as the number of queries and data size increase. This diagram helps us visualize how the process works. For Cassandra data modeling, we recommend developing the conceptual data model and analyzing the application workflow in parallel. The application workflow helps us identify the queries or access patterns that the application will need from the database, and this will heavily influence our logical and physical data models. Now, there's definitely a science to data modeling. We can apply proven methodologies and repeatable processes to consistently produce high-quality models. But at the same time, there is also an art to data modeling because there are multiple ways to solve design problems. There are multiple valid approaches and data modeling patterns that we can apply, and finding the right solution requires both creativity and persistence. This is why understanding the queries you need to support is so important. One of the key principles of Cassandra data modeling is to design tables that support the queries your application will need to support.